Hello, my name is Melissa Swink, and I'm the founder and CEO of a virtual assistant services company. Our fractional team provides administrative, marketing, and operational support to small businesses and nonprofits. Today, I want us to just pause and hit the reset button together because we are halfway through the year. And I want to start by asking you a question. Are you where you thought you'd be by now? So maybe when you think back to the end of 2025, or maybe in January of this year, you got clear on the goals that you've set or the intentions that you've set. Maybe you even did some projections and some project planning. And we're not just talking about, are you where you want to be in terms of revenue, but in how your business or organization actually runs. How do things feel on a day-to-day basis? And I'm asking that question, when we're at this mid-year point, because a lot of founders start to realize at this point that things are starting to feel heavier than expected, right? When we're, at the beginning of an exciting new project or a new launch or the start of a new year, there's all this energy and excitement, but then pretty soon we hit that messy middle, right? Where it's just like, things are starting to feel clunky. Things are starting to just take more effort than expected, or things are just feeling really, really messy. So now is a great time to check in with yourself and then recalibrate as needed so that the second half of this year feels a whole lot lighter and you're back in that exciting energy again. So let's zoom out for just a moment here and let's look at what's actually happening. What are some of the causes on the surface why things might feel a little bit heavier than you feel that they should? So maybe client work takes priority, right? And this one is a very common one where we get pulled into working in the business or organization rather than working on it as a leader. Like certainly we want to serve our clients well, or maybe we just get really, really busy, which is exciting. Like we got a lot of, exciting growth happening in the company, but then pretty soon there's less time to work on the business because we're just knee deep in supporting the clients and in fulfilling the work that we have accumulated. Maybe it's urgent tasks filling your calendar. Like maybe you have time blocked off each week for strategy or business development, and those blocks just magically start disappearing because something more time sensitive needs to go in its place. And over time, we're no longer just pushing things back by 1 week. Pretty soon it just hasn't happened in, say, 6 months when we're halfway through the year, or maybe 6 months is long. Maybe, let's be real, maybe it's just been several months, or you're like, I just can't focus on that right now. There are things that are more urgent and time sensitive that need to be focused on. And over time, that's how this kind of becomes the default, right? We keep working in the business, in the organization. And it's not because you don't care. It's not because you don't think strategy is important or you don't think that business development is important. That's not at all. It's just you don't have the capacity to do all of that, plus carry the work of the business or organization forward. So let's zoom back one more layer with, some of these surface level things that might sound familiar to you. And let's talk about the real cost of some of these things. So if those were the causes, these are some of the effects. So we're going to go through these one by one. Your processes stay messy or completely undocumented, right? We don't have a solid SOP library in place so that there are standards for how we and the team are operating, or maybe it's not documented at all. So everybody's kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Everybody's doing things slightly differently, or even worse, your team doesn't have full clarity. So they're constantly coming to you for answers or putting out fires or, helping them think through what should they do next. In fact, I know several leaders that they know that they and their team are at capacity, but the idea of bringing on another team member or any other type of, even virtual assistant or independent contractor, freelancer to help with some of these things is daunting, because that's just one more person who's going to need their time. That's one more person who's going to be asking questions. That's one more person that has to be shown what to do. And that's really frustrating. And I get it when you're already spread too thin. But the problem is that oftentimes work and decisions stay in your head, right? It's near impossible to hand something off to somebody else if it lives in your head. One example of this for me was our team payments, running our team payroll on a twice monthly basis. For years, I was the only one who did this. There was no written SOP. I just did this. And the problem is that then I found myself, for example, running payroll when I was on vacation, or I wasn't available for some reason, and I would either have to run it early or run it when I got back, usually earlier, because you don't want to pay people late. That doesn't usually go over very well. And so that was something that I was the number one go-to for all of that. So I needed to be very intentional about cross-training our bookkeeper and getting her involved in our systems and all the tools that we use in order for her to take that work over. But until I got it into a physical space where she was able to pick it up and carry that work forward, it all just lived in my head. It was all just me. It was very difficult for anybody else to cover for me, if not impossible. Another maybe effect that you might be seeing with some of these symptoms is that the business is still moving forward, but it's harder, it's slower, and it's more dependent on you maybe than it feels like it ever was before. So here's the bottom line, is I want you to know that this is not a motivational issue. This is purely a capacity and an operational issue. It's the way that things are currently set up. So before we start talking about what to do about that, I just want to pause for a minute and remind you, why does this matter right now? Okay, because again, we are halfway through this year. If nothing changes, the next 6 months is going to look the same as it is now. And I think that you probably realize by now that even if you put in more effort, the same bottlenecks are still going to be there unless we do something about this. So you're not going to fix this by pushing harder. This is not working about more hours. This is not about trying to, restructure your operations so that they're more scalable and they can accommodate more work on the weekends. That's not what we're talking about here. You're going to fix this by changing how the business runs. So here's what a reset is going to require. Let's start with what it's not going to require. Not new goals, not more ideas. You already, as a leader, are probably very ambitious. You're probably very passionate about what you and your organization does. You have probably invested in yourself, where you have done conferences and personal and professional development, in coaching and all sorts of things. You don't need more ideas. This reset is going to require 3 things, a high level 3 things. We're going to look at what has been avoided, what keeps getting pushed back on the back burner. Yeah, I know we need a new system for X, Y, and Z, but I just don't have time to select it, implement it, set it up, roll it out to the team, all the things, right? It's also going to require identifying where you are still the bottleneck. What is still on your plate that should no longer be on your plate, given the expansion and the growth of the team, the organization, the company, all of those factors? What are things that no longer should be on your plate? Where is your team coming to you to put out fires? Where's the team coming to you to make decisions and give directives? And it's also going to require creating structure where things feel unclear. This is the time that we're going to need to sit down with either a consultant or a coach or even just your team and say, hey, we need to fix X, Y, and Z issue because it's come up multiple times. Let's map this out. Let's put together a standard and figure out how we are going to solve this problem, or how we are going to complete this process on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis so that it's consistent. Okay, that's what it's going to require. I'm going to repeat those one more time. Look at what's being avoided, identify where you're still the bottleneck, and create structure where things feel unclear. That's what this is going to require in order to make running your business, your organization, so much easier for you and your team. So, and this is where founders get stuck, because these are not the immediate payoff things, right? This is not like I meet with a prospect, we get a quote or a proposal together, we submit that RFP, we get the work, yay, exciting, that's revenue, that's work, and we're off to the races. That's super fun, and that is usually priority, as, let's be honest, it needs to be. But these things, these operational things behind the scenes, often get pushed on the back burner, and this is where things get stuck. And this work, unfortunately, is not going to happen all on its own. There's no fairy that's going to come in and fix it for you. And that is where support in this area is going to become very necessary, because you can't do this alone, especially where you're at in your business, in your organization, in your career. You are a very capable person, but you are simply outgrowing the structure that currently is. I am constantly evaluating, and so many leaders are constantly evaluating, what should I be doing? How can I make more capacity? What do I need to delegate? What do we need to systematize? What systems have we outgrown? There are plenty of systems, even in my company right now, that we're reevaluating because they served us well 2 years ago. And we're still there. And, it's kind of like wearing a jacket that's too tight for you. Like, okay, we can't move the way we need to. We need a bigger jacket. We need a properly fitted jacket. It's a great example. So it's not because it's not anything that you are doing. So support, though, in this area is going to help you create that structure. It's going to help you move projects forward. It's going to carry execution consistently so that you and your team are performing in the way that you want to be and serving your clients and your organization to the very best of your abilities. And again, without having these things in place, everything is going to continue to rely on you. Something that I want you to think about as well is, even if you're like, okay, I am committed to revamping our operations and our structure behind the scenes so that we can grow, but you're going to need the momentum and the accountability that comes with having another person or another team help you see this through. So just to wrap things up, the mid-year is a great checkpoint. You can use it or you could not. You have a decision to make. You can operate the same way you have been and just continue to coast through the rest of this year, or you can take the time now to reset how the business actually functions. So that being said, if you are ready to stop carrying everything yourself, or you are feeling like you and your team are just stretched so thin, you're at capacity, and you know that you need to either create real operational structure or even revamp the existing structure in order to be able to continue to support the growth and expansion of the work that you're doing, you are welcome to book a consultation with me and my team to see how we can support you in those areas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will be back again in a couple of weeks with more tips, tools, and strategies to grow your business or organization beyond you. Thanks so much.